Hi guys, it's Aaron McGrew here. It has certainly been a minute, hasn't it? My last video was my 30th birthday video, which was back in June of last year. That's a long time. For one, I have become a manager at my store, the pizza restaurant. I've learned to become more of an extrovert. I am naturally an introvert, but I have learned some versatility in my social life. And I would just kind of like to share some things that I personally have learned as a leader. I do not claim to be any sort of guru or expert. I am just very observant and I go through things because I'm slow and I learn things very slowly and the hard way. So once I learn them, it's like, oh, let's share them, shall we? So before I get into this, I just wanted to say that there is so much negativity in the world today, and I just want to try to counteract that. Because I am a recovering pessimist. I know what it's like to just sit there in bed all day and just be like, oh, this world sucks. Like, my life sucks. It's like, no. Where I'm working, like, it has to be a very energetic place. So I've carried what I've learned from my job, like, into my personal life and into even my church life, to my leadership there. You got to wake up. You got to kick your butt out of bed early in the morning, and you gotta make life happen. You gotta make things work. You gotta kick yourself in gear. That was very hard for me, but I am starting to really become more of that type A person I've always wanted to be. So first things first, as a leader, I learned communication. That has always been something that was very difficult for me. Anyone who knows me in person knows that I have always been very, very quiet. I still have the tendency to be fairly quiet. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. I have some personal issues that I just don't like sharing. I like to keep to myself a lot. I'm a very private person. But yes, anyway, communication. Making your desires known, making your expectations known. Exactly. You gotta open your mouth. You got to talk to people. It seems so simple, yet that's so difficult for. The thing about communication is that it has to be effective. You have to know your audience. You have to get inside their brain, or at least try to understand them, where they're coming from. You have to meet them where they are. Gotta take them from where they are and bring them to where you are and form that bridge. People seem to learn the best when you actually walk with them, when you have them do things, when you walk side by side instead of just kind of like talking at them. Because that's what I've always done. I've just kind of throw words at people and expect them to do things, and it's like, oh my gosh. Walk with somebody. It's okay. Give yourself. Invest yourself. You gotta be intentional with what you're doing in order to be effective. One thing I learned in college is this theory called transactional analysis, which is by a man called Eric Berne, I believe his name is. He defines people's way of communicating as either an adult, a parent, or a child. And now, as far as interactions go, like, this is completely different from a person's biological age. There are parent-to-child interactions, there are parent-to-adult interactions, there are child-to-child, adult-to-adult, and that's probably the goal of when you're communicating. You want to have adult-to-adult reactions. Now, an example of a parent-to-child is, let's say, like, I don't know, you're just two grown men. They're both like 30-something, and one man who's acting the role of a parent, like, is talking down to another man who's just kind of, you know, there are grown men grown people who throw adult temper tantrums. That's the type of person about whom I am speaking. They are acting like the child. So then another man who's mature, talking to them like a parent, tries to take responsibility for them, tries to drive things home into them, but that's not, a parent-to-child interaction is not very successful. because it just makes them feel like even more of a child, and it's just going to push them over the edge. The goal is to at least give them an adult to child interaction, because with the adult way of speaking, it's very mature. You're not being overbearing, you're being understanding. You're noticing this person's immaturity, and you're trying to bring him up. You're not trying to push him down and be like, oh, you're immature, poo, and then spit on them. Be like, oh, peasant. That's type of a parent interaction. But being an adult is like, oh, okay. Well, let's go side by side with them. Let's meet them where they are and take them to where they should be. Attempt to do that. It may take some patience. It definitely will take some patience. It hurts on the inside because it's easy to get very frustrated with someone who is not mature. But do it. And be successful. Invest in people. Be intentional with your words. I just want to tell people, don't ever quit. Life can get hard. Life can be very difficult. There are some things we do need to quit. It really depends on whether or not it is something crucial to our life. But if it's something irrelevant and it just adds no real value to your life, or if it's something weighing you down in life, it really depends on the situation. But I'm talking about like just quitting life and being a nobody and not taking care of yourself. No. No, 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 no. None of this. Don't quit like that. What we need to do is to take our lives and to put it into something manageable, or like categorize it into manageable things. The biggest thing that I love, that I use all the time as being a leader, is theory of personality. There are many different like theories of personality. Like personally, I like the Myers-Briggs. These types of things are the study of different personalities. You want to know how to interact with people. You want to know like what their strengths and weaknesses are, and what your personal strengths and weaknesses are, and find out ways of compromising in order to form, well, not only a bond, but to make things happen, to know how to communicate. So I was never really big on New Year's resolutions, but I just kind of made one because it was there. It popped into my head at, around New Year's, so I just figured it's a New Year's resolution, even though it wasn't that intentional. Actions, not idle words. Actions is where it matters. Do things. This right here, this can blah, 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 but nothing ever happens. Do things. Get out there. Be involved. Be intentional. Declutter. Simplify things. Make a list and check it twice. Find out what is naughty and nice in your life and cut out the naughty things. I like to complicate my life. I like to say yes a lot. I like to have so many ideas, and then I try to invest in all of these ideas at once, and it results in never actually getting anything done. So my thing for me personally is to simplify. Write these things on a list and check which ones is a top priority, which ones are top priorities, and get moving on it, because actions! Actions. A-C-T-I-O-N-S. You see these things right here? You see how there are two of them and only one of these? That means you should listen! What are people saying? What are their desires? Don't be a doormat, but also in order to respect others and for them to see, to know that you respect them, you gotta listen to them. What are their desires? What are their goals? What are their needs? Compromise. Don't just be like, man, dictate. Listen, consider, compromise, make something work so you can form an agreement. You can agree to disagree, but there are some things you just need to compromise on. That's where people get respect for you and from you. So, as far as the pessimism in this world is concerned, we are living in a generation where so many people throw the baby out with the bathwater, where they'll find one bad thing about somebody and then they'll assume that captures like their whole character, so they throw that whole person away. And the sad thing about this way of viewing the world, that people tend to view themselves this way, is if they fail in some area, they consider themselves to be wholly a failure. Like their whole being a failure just because they failed in one area of life. But like, you can't do that, dude. Compartmentalization. Just like keep that failure in that area, like over here, in that little beep, that little blip. And then you got the rest of your success over here. It's like, don't let that rule your life. You hear me? Do not let that rule your life. Do you know what faith is? Faith is keeping focus on the goal, despite the failures and the doubts. Despite it looking dark, you gotta focus on that light and you gotta keep going. I realize this video is so messy, but those are just some things I wanted to say. And I'm glad to see you guys, even though I'm just talking to a camera right now. Wow! But I hope you guys are doing well. I have missed you. I have missed YouTube. I just want to close and say, action! Action! Do things! Be successful! Motivate yourselves! Because ain't nobody else gonna motivate you. You gotta get it in here, in your heart, in your mind. Make yourself worth something. Don't surrender to that dark voice that's like, you ain't never gonna be nobody. You ain't never gonna be nobody. You gotta shut that voice up and be like, get out my face! Get out my head! Get out my heart! Get up. You gotta get up and be somebody. True that. Okay? Don't let me catch you surrendering to that dark voice. Don't let me catch you. Get out that bed! Wake up! Be somebody! Love you guys. Bye-bye.